All right. So, Secret Invasion episode 6, the series finale of the show is finally here. I've watched it, I've reacted to it, I've enjoyed it for a bit, but yeah, we're going to be breaking it all down in this review. So, before we get started, if you guys can please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, it really helps out the channel. Okay. So, going into this episode, I was very scared because there was a lot of plot points that were going to be addressed in this show that I was really terrified of how they were going to handle it. We had the whole thing with Gravik and Gaia. We had Fury and trying to stop Gaia, or I'm sorry, trying to stop Gravik. We had Skrull Rhodey with President Ritson. We had the million scrolls that still exist in this world, and it was one of those things where I didn't know if they were gonna actually be able to conclude the series as a whole, and they don't fix every single plot hole because some of the things that we do get answers to are still um we still don't have a definitive response. I'm going to break each one of them down as we get along. So, quick summary of the episode. We see Fury, quote unquote Fury, encountering Gravik. And Gravik, now I got to say, after watching this series, I will say, whatever your opinions are on the series, you cannot lie. Gravik is easily one of the greatest Disney Plus villains. Like, he's definitely in the top 50%. He's probably in my top three favorite Disney Plus villains. I don't know how he ranks overall with the entire MCU, just because there's so many films, especially with like Phase 3 and Phase 4 having so much content and so many villains that I have to see where he kind of ranks among them. But he is definitely one of the better villains in these Disney Plus shows. His motivation has always been very solid. His whole wanting to erase the human race in exchange for making the home planet New Skrullos, I thought was really, really interesting. So we open it up with quote unquote Fury and Gravik interacting. We learned a little bit more about Gravik. We learned that the human form he has is actually the first person he ever killed, and he explains to Fury that as he um, did all of Fury's missions for him, we discovered that, Gravik learned the horrors about war and sort of, even though he's killing these people have, wives and children, and they have good lives, and he's taking that away from them. And so Gravik now feels as though he has to do the same, but on a planet based level. Like, he has to eliminate the entire human race in order to help his kind. So Gravik and Fury are talking, and during this time, we also get the interaction between Skrull Rhodey and President Ritson, in which Skrull Rhodey is trying to convince President Ritson to start the attack on Russia and attack the Skrulls as well, because the two are working together, and he wants to make sure that the president can start World War III by attacking Russia, and where the Skrulls were hiding in New Skrullos. So it's a little bit back and forth. We then cut back to Fury and Gravik, and Fury gives Gravik the vial of Avengers DNA, and it contains literally, I can't even like list off. It had so many Avengers DNA level. It had Captain Marvel. I saw Ghost in it, Ebony Maw, Proxima Midnight, Captain America, Winter Soldier. I'm trying to think. Hulk. I believe Korg was there. Mantis, Drax was also there, which is so weird. That a few Guardians were also on the list. It was just like there was so. Oh, sorry. There were so many freaking scrolls, or I'm sorry, heroes on this, and I don't even think like all of them bled, like actual blood during the battle in Endgame. But I guess at one point that they did, but it was kind of crazy to see all that. So Gravik initiates it. He gives himself the powers, and as he's about to take down Fury, we actually see a version of Gravik. We see his true scroll form, except this time has now been buffed. I guess some of that Hulk DNA got into him, and so like he's really big and bulky now. So um, he's gonna throw a punch at Fury. Fury catches it, and it's revealed that it's actually Gaia disguising as Fury. And I kind of knew that this was gonna happen, more specifically with the way that Fury was kind of reacting and talking to Gravik. It wasn't really Fury, but it was rather someone pretending to be Fury, and it really leaned more towards Gaia being the one revealed. So Gaia now has all the same superpowers that Gravik injected himself with, and we get this really cool epic battle. I think it's a really solid battle of Gravik and Gaia fighting each other, but they're also using the abilities that the Avengers have. So, for example, um, we see during the battle, we see like they use Captain Marvel's binary abilities to fly and to glow like a Super Saiyan. We see Gaia use Ghost ability to phase through. We see her pull out a Drax arm. We see her use the Mantis antennas to put Gravik to sleep. We see both of them use like I think Gravik used Ebony Maw's telekinesis. I'm trying to think of what else. They use Korg and Groot durability. So like they use Korg's like hands, they use Groot's hands, they use a Bifrost. They use the Bifrost beast to create ice weapons, and so I don't know what's in store for Gaia because at the end she ultimately kills Gravik. She uses her binary abilities to blast a hole through his chest. I don't know where Gaia's gonna go later down the road. I don't think she's in the Marvels, but she is without a doubt in the top three strongest MCU characters at this point. There is no way you're gonna leave that bridge uncharted because like she is without a doubt one of the top three strongest characters in the MCU. Now I'm talking the only characters that's probably stronger than her is probably like maybe the few Kang variants that are out there, like with full on technology, and like maybe um Captain Marvel and Thor. After that, like no one else can compete with her. I'm pretty sure no one can compete with her because she is insanely powerful at this point. Like none of the Guardians can beat her. None of the Avengers are gonna be able to beat her. She is strong, like real fucking strong. So we cut back to Fury and President Ritson. They pretty much have this Mexican standoff where uh, it's Fury trying to convince Ritson that Rhodey is a Skrull, and then Rhodey is trying to convince the president to shoot Fury because he's a traitor. So President Ritson ultimately shoots Rhodey, and it's revealed that yeah, this is a Skrull. And so what ends up happening is that Ritson ends up getting mad at this, and we find out that Fury and Olivia Colman's character also were like trying to take down a bunch of Skrulls, and they're luckily able to save President Ritson, but it comes at a cost later on in the episode. So um, we wrap the episode up, and a couple things. Ooh, it's storming outside. I hope my lights don't go out. Okay, so a couple of things. Gaia, at the end, she teams up with Olivia Colman's character. I never learned her name. I know, I'm so dumb. And essentially, a couple of things happen. So, President Ritson, after, almost being killed by Scrody, he then declares a message against, and he pretty much declares war on the Skrulls. So he's mad. He's going to declare war on them. He says, we know who you are. We know how to find you. We're going to kill you. We're going to kill all 1 million of you. And we're going to make sure that we can avenge all the people who die. And we actually get, this is a pretty interesting thing. We see a montage of different assassination attempts, and some of the people who were killing um, people, they either killed scrolls or they killed actual humans. And so you'll see, like, in one instance, you'll see them successfully kill a scroll. But then in another instance, you actually see them kill an actual human. So even though President Ritson thinks that he can find all of these scrolls, it's going to be very, very difficult. And it ultimately is going to come at the cost of killing innocent people. My only thing that I will say is that with this sort of um, play in action, I'm wondering if this is going to have an effect in Captain Marvel 2. There might be a little bit, and I'll get to that in a little bit, but there's over 1 million scrolls on Earth. No way in hell they're just going to leave it to like happen off screen. They're going to address this at one point, and I think the ending kind of leads into that. So we continue off. Gaia meets up with Olivia Colman, and essentially the two of them come to an agreement that they're going to work together in order to gather all of the scrolls. So they're going to try to find all of the scrolls and find a new home, which we then later find out how they're going to find it through Fury. So we end the episode off with Fury and what was it? Vara. I'm gonna just call her Priscilla. So we end the episode off with Fury and Priscilla. Fury's gonna go back to Saber, and we see Priscilla ends up joining him, and they have a really beautiful moment where Priscilla goes to her true scroll form, and Fury, kisses her and pretty much accepts her no matter what. And Fury then states that he has found out that the Creed, who are like the sworn enemies of the Skrulls, are wanting to have peace talks. Essentially, they want to meet up in order to create peace among the Creed and the Skrull, and hopefully find the Skrulls a new home. So, with that said, it seems as though that Priscilla's gonna be making her way to the Marvels, and we know that the Marvels is gonna be dealing with a bunch of Creed. I believe the main villain of the Marvels is a Creed warrior, so it does seem as though that this is gonna kind of connect to it. But we haven't seen any single type of Skrulls. Like, we don't know. Like, obviously, Talos is dead. Gravik is dead. Gaia is going to be going off with Olivia Colman. So the only Skrull that we're probably going to be seeing in the Marvels is most likely Priscilla. And even then, that's not even confirmed. So there might be a chance in which we don't even see her at all. And we're going to have to wait until November. But whatever. I'm fine with that. Okay. Now, there's one last thing that I want to talk about before I get my official review, and it is Scrody. So we find out that after they successfully defeat Gaia, that Gaia goes... I'm sorry, I said successfully defeats Gaia. I mean Gravik. After Gaia defeats Gravik, she goes on to release all of the people who were captured by the Skrulls. And we see a couple of characters. We see some of the characters that we saw throughout the series. We see Everett Ross in the actual flesh. So we see Everett Ross. My assumption is that he was captured after Black Panther Wakanda Forever, but it's difficult to say because I don't know exactly when he would do that, if he ran off with Okoye and probably went back to Wakanda, so who knows. Now, Rhodey. So this is very interesting. Rhodey awakes. He wakes up. He's in a hospital gown, and we see him struggling to walk. We see him struggling to get out of the little pod that he's in. And it takes two people to actually get Rhodey off of the pod and help him walk. Now, I've seen a lot of people already on Twitter, and I'm pretty sure that this is going to have a big debate. But based off of what I know so far, and I have a few, I think I have a definitive date. A lot of people are saying that Rhodey was taken after Civil War because of the hospital gown that he has and his inability to walk. And I do think that that's a valid point. However, I will say this. Rhodey, when we saw him wake up from the pod, he doesn't have his legs endoskeleton on him. And if you guys know, that was the thing that he got at the end of Civil War. We saw him with it during the events of Infinity War and Endgame, in which it gives him the ability to walk. So because Rhodey didn't have this on him, and because we didn't see any endoskeleton on him during this moment, it's could be assumed that he couldn't walk, obviously because he got paralyzed and the endoskeleton helps him walk. So when you take that away, of course he's not going to be able to. So I'm not saying that Rhodey was taken after Civil War, because you can make a valid argument. But if I was Marvel, and if I did the thing where, and if I made Rhodes go through the events of Infinity War, Endgame, the loss of Thanos' snap, the loss of Tony Stark, I would argue that Rhodey was taken after the events of Endgame, because there's also another moment in Endgame where he bleeds blood. I believe it's after Thanos bombs Avengers HQ, Rhodey bleeds red, and we know that the Skrulls bleed purple. So my assumption is that at one point after Endgame, when Rhodey was maybe doing a medical exam on his feet, or he was like getting a checkup in which he was in a hospital gown and he didn't have his endoskeleton on, because I know that people with disabilities often go get medical checkups. I'm assuming, this is my theory, that after Endgame, when he was getting a checkup, he was then captured by Skrulls. And we know that Rhodey's going to be in Armor Wars, and we know that he's most likely going to appear in some future MCU projects. But I'm still going with the theory that he was taken after Endgame, because of, it would be a bad move if he was taken after Civil War. And we're going to have to wait. Maybe they're going to confirm that he was taken after Civil War, but I still have my theory that it was going to be after Endgame, and I stand by that. Overall, the series as a whole, what do I rate Secret Invasion? You know what, guys? I'm going to be honest. This is tough. Give me a second. If I could rate Secret Invasion, here's the thing. It's violent. It's mature. It's good. It started off great. It had a little bit of dull moments, like a lot of these Marvel Disney Plus shows. It's similar to it's very similar, in my opinion, to like a She-Hulk and a Miss Marvel with the way the pacing is. It's like She-Hulk and Miss Marvel. They start off super strong, and they have kind of a dull middle part, but then they end really strong. And I think Secret Invasions is kind of on this level, except it does it way better, because you do have an interesting villain. You have good character development for like Fury and Priscilla and Gaia and Talos. And there are some cool moments here and there, but I just think that it was kind of executed in the wrong way. Maybe if they would have taken a little bit more time to develop some of the other characters, or really show off the importance of this show, and like make the Skrulls an actual threat, not just Gravik, I think it would have been really well done. Obviously, it's nowhere near comic accurate as the Secret Invasion comic book, so I can't even compare it to that. But overall, as a series on its own, it's really solid. I don't think it's the best, but I do appreciate it more than a lot of the MCU shows. I liked it more than She-Hulk. I liked it more than Miss Marvel. I liked it more than Hawkeye. But I don't like it as much as like a Falcon, Moon Knight, or Loki. So it's in my 50%. It's like in the middle. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10 overall as a series. I thought it had some great moments. Kind of wish it would have dealt a little bit more with the MCU. But it's Fury on his own, and it's a TV show, so they're not going to have that big of a budget. But I would strongly check it out. I would strongly recommend that you check it out. 7.5 overall as the series as a whole. Can't wait to see Fury's next chapter in the Marvels. And I believe the next Disney Plus show is going to be Loki in October. So, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, that has been it for my Secret Invasion review. If you guys have been listening for all 6 episodes, thank you so much. It's been so fun to break down this show, and I really did enjoy it overall. Cannot wait to see what else Marvel has in store for us, especially in the coming months. I know things have been tough with like the writer's strike and the actor's strike, but hopefully things get better real soon, because with the way that things are going, the MCU has to buckle up. Otherwise, we're going to be dealing with a drought of non-content. So anyway, guys, I'll leave it there. Thank you guys so much for listening. My name is Anthony Salic, and I will see you all next time. Peace.